Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Three in the Key. I'm your host Arnav for today, and I'm joined here with Ben and Angie. Say what's up, guys.
How's it going, everyone?
So today we're going to be continuing our list for the top 10 players in each position in the NBA right now. Today we'll be continuing with our small forwards list. So if you didn't watch the past ones, you should go watch them now. But just so if you don't know the rules, we're going to be doing every player who's still in the NBA. If they're injured, we're just going to be ranking them on how we think they're going to do after their injury and how they're going to play after the injury. And yeah, so let's get into it. Ben, you can start.
All right, so what's up, guys? How's it going? So for my list, I have a couple honorable mentions. By a couple, I do mean 6. Before I started this list, I talked to Andrew about some of the players, and I couldn't even name. Well, this might not make me sound too smart, but anyways, couldn't even name that many good small forwards. And now I got 16 guys who I think deserve to be on my list. But we only got 10. So here are my 6 honorable mentions. So my honorable mentions are Mr. GOAT, TJ Warren, Bubble God, whatever you want to call him.
LeBron right now.
Yeah. Jonathan Isaac, his injury, man, it just sucks. I think he will be affected, but in the long run, I think he'll be okay. Bojan Bogdanovic, and OG and Kelly Oubre Jr., all really great players. Most of them pretty young, and I think they're gonna have good careers ahead of them. Just not in that top 10 list just yet. But yeah, those are my honorable mentions. So to start my list off with number 10, we got a guy who had a very gruesome injury a couple years ago. It's Gordon Hayward. He's hasn't been as impressive as he was for the Jazz and back when he was in his prime. But I still think he deserves to be on this list. Very talented player, so that's why he's at my number 10. At number 9. Also, almost forgot about him. He hasn't had a great start to the bubble, but my number 9 spot is Tobias Harris. He's we did argue that he was a 4, but I think he's a 3 for the most part. He can shoot the ball, great floor spacing. Really good addition that I thought for the Sixers when he first came. So I think he should be able to help them out. I don't really know what's going on with that Sixers team right now, but Tobias Harris alone, just a greater talented player. And as we said on this list, we're not really taking in too much. Even though maybe Tobias Harris hasn't been playing as great, we know he's good, right? We know he deserves to be a top 10 small forward. So that's why I have him there. All right, for my number 8 spot, I got DeMar DeRozan. Kind of fell off a little bit since he got traded, but he's still a great, very talented player, great mid-range scorer. Definitely deserves to be on my list. I'm not sure if you guys got him. I think so, but yeah, great scorer. He's been getting better on the defensive end. But he's evolved his game, really. He's getting older, so it's going to be tough. But I do think he is deserving of this number 8 spot. At number 7, I have a feeling these one of you guys maybe forgot him. Maybe not. Anyways. We got Brandon Ingram. You guys got him?
Yes, sir.
All right. All-star this season, very good. Good player. I think he's gonna be real good. The next Kevin Durant. Really great scorer. Not a bad defender. Good driver. I said this a lot in the point guard video. Just an amazing player. And that's why I have him at number 7. At number 6, from the Milwaukee Bucks, I got Chris Middleton. Amazing shooter. Great defender. What do you have, 50-something points against the Wizards this season? Crazy good. Yeah, he's just been really impressive for me. Good scorer, good defender, as I said. So he's at my number 6. At number 5, I got another all-star from the Boston Celtics, Jason Tatum. Some people say he's a 4. I don't really know. I'm going to take him as a 5. Bleacher Report had him as a 3 and a 4, which I was a little bit confused about. But great future ahead of him. Just phenomenal.
Very young talent.
Good shooter. can drive the
He's
ball.
gonna be a big part of the playoffs this year too.
And as we talked about before, his defense has really evolved, really. So I have him at my number 5. At number 4, I got the guy that hates TJ Warren, Jimmy Butler. If today is Monday, I'm not sure if this video is going to come up on Monday. Hopefully, anyways, they're going to face off today. That should be interesting.
He might not.
don't think
TJ Warren's day today with a foot problem.
Oh, all right. So he might not play.
But
Anyways.
I really want them to play now that you bring it up. I completely.
I would be happy if Jimmy Butler shut it down or whatnot. Yeah. So number 4, Jimmy Butler, great defender, good scorer. You like to have those kind of two-way players. Well, he's two-way, but he's not in a way. Like usually two ways, you're shooting guard, small forward players. So he is a two-way player. Anyways, we got our next, arguably the best two-way player in the league. At number 3, Kawhi Leonard. We all know what this man can do. He's unbelievable, talented, great shooter, good playmaking, very good in the pick and roll. Obviously, an amazing defender. Yeah, so he's my number 3. At number 2, I got Kevin Durant. And as Arnav said, yeah, obviously going through that Achilles injury was not great for him. But I think it's going to affect him a little bit. I don't think he's going to be the same player, but yeah, he is a shooter. It might affect maybe his jumping ability, explosiveness, things around that. But I think he'll still be the second best small forward in the league. And at number 1, we got the king, LBJ, LeBron James.
LeBron Bogdanovic. Oh, LeBron James.
There's not that much we could say about him because he's just the king, really. Arguably the greatest player of all time. Phenomenal. So that's my list. Top it off with LeBron at number 1. So thank you for listening.
You're welcome.
Okay.
So moving on to my list, I'm gonna start it off with some honorable mentions. TJ Warren, obviously doing really great in the bubble. Then I was gonna say Then there was Kelly Oubre Jr. and OG, just both doing really well. They're still really young, so they have a lot of future. So I don't think they're better than the players on my list, which is why they're honorable mentions. But I think they're definitely there, and they're gonna be up on this list in a few years. So to start off my list at number 10, I got Tobias Harris, great player for the Sixers. He's just good talent, and he played really well for the Clippers last season, if you guys remember that. And I don't know, he's just not really that fitting with the Sixers right now. I don't know. Yeah,
I disagree with that a little. I have a take on Tobias Harris that I'll get to at the end, but I kind of disagree with the fit thing.
All right, but yeah, he's just not I don't know. He's just not as good as he could be. He could be on a better team that would work better for him. But yeah, on to my number 9 spot. This might come as a surprise, but Bojan Bogdanovic is my number 9. I have him above Tobias Harris because really right now we've seen how important he is to the Utah Jazz.
My thoughts exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I actually have him higher than
Wait, what? Bogdanovic?
Bojan.
Yeah.
I thought you said Bogdan.
Bogdan? No, hell no.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
so Bojan or Bojan. Anyways, Bojan is just he's really important, and it's really tough for the Jazz to make up for his 20 points a game. So that's a lot of pressure on the Jazz team, and I don't know how they're going to do in the playoffs now because he's injured. So yeah, that just really proves how good of a player he was. At my number 8 spot, DeMar DeRozan. It's really sad seeing him this low. Like, he used to be number 4.
He used to be a
Yeah.
shooting guard.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, he was such a great player. But now on the like when he got traded, it was just like everything changed. His career just went downhill. But yeah, he's still doing really good, and he's the big leader on the Spurs team, and they're making a playoff run, right?
But it's not necessarily led by him. It's mostly Derek White. He's averaged 24 in the bubble.
Yeah, oh yeah. Did you watch that game where he had like six charges?
Yeah, it was kind of insane. I thought he was going to get I thought he was actually going.
Get
He
killed.
actually did get hurt at the end of the game. He chipped his tooth. I
Yeah.
think.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, like mini Kyle Lowry out there, man.
I think there's gonna be some kind of like 3-team play-in in the West. I think that's gonna be quite interesting.
No, and the play-in can only be 2 teams at most.
But what if there's 2 teams
Why?
tied for the spot?
Well, then
Yeah.
whoever has a better record against the conference division or against each other.
What?
Just like how they decided a tie in the playoffs. Like if the 1 and 2 seed have the same record, then they'll split it by. I'm pretty sure it's who has the better record against each other, and if they're tied in that regard, then it would be.
And who has the better record? Who has the better record?
Against their division or conference? I'm not entirely sure.
So if it's the Pelicans and the
Pelicans
Blazers-
are eliminated from playoff contention.
No way.
Yeah, they got eliminated last night. I knew
Yeah,
this would
they-
happen. You guys really overhyped the Pelicans a little. Like
Me, I never said they're making.
you picked them for the 8th seed then.
No,
What about the
I didn't.
Suns?
I said no.
Are the
I
Suns?
picked the Trailblazers. What?
Did you not pick the? Oh,
I
you
picked
did
the
pick the
Pelicans.
Well, a while ago, before we started the podcast, you picked the Pelicans.
Okay, go back to the 10 small forwards.
Oh, that's right. That's what today is.
Yeah, that's what we were doing. Speaking of the Pelicans, we got Brandon Ingram at my number 6 spot.
No, aren't we at
7th
your
spot,
7?
number 7. Yeah, my 7. Yeah, Brandon Ingram. It's tough that he couldn't take his team there, but yeah, he's gonna be insane next year. I think him and a fully healthy Zion would be just crazy. Oh yeah, he's the next Kevin Durant.
No, he's not.
That,
Shut up.
yes, he is, bro. He's slandered,
I
bro.
hate the Kevin Durant comparisons because that is such a high bar to set. Kevin Durant is a consensus top 20 player of all time.
Have you ever watched a Pelicans game, bro?
Yes,
He's
I've
literally-
watched
they
lots
play the
of
exact
Pelicans
same.
games. He is
They play the
no,
exact
just because he's lengthy. First of all, Kevin Durant is bigger. Kevin Durant
No,
is
but they
probably
do the
more
same. They have the
explosive.
same.
Kevin Durant is a better
They shoot
shooter.
like the same.
Kevin Durant is more dominant. Kevin Durant is way more dominant.
Well, yeah,
Right
Kevin
now,
Durant
but
is better
Brandon
than him.
Ingram's young.
But
is
Brandon
saying
Ingram's
that
gonna be the next.
he
Like,
is
yeah,
fine.
he's the next one of Kevin Durant.
Okay, but you
He might
can't,
not be
you
better.
can't be the next Kevin Durant because he's the greatest scorer of all time. You can be like
Yes, you
Kevin
can be the
Durant.
next Kevin.
You can be
Durant.
Kevin Durant light. You can be similar to Kevin Durant, but you cannot be. There's only one Kevin Durant at the end of the
No.
day.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, definitely.
No.
Like no
No.
player will ever play like Kevin Durant.
Yes.
That's
A
not
lot of
true.
players will play.
I
Lots
think
of players play like Kevin Durant, but there won't be
no
any
player
Brandon
is ever
Ingram
going
is-
to be that
like
dominant. Kevin Durant is the best scorer of all time.
No.
In my opinion, he is the best scorer of all time.
Yes, he's the best
Yes,
scorer.
right now.
People can still
But
be like,
yeah, you didn't know Kevin Durant existed 10 years ago, and you would never say that someone was a better scorer than MJ.
Okay, but we're 4 years into Brandon Ingram, okay? And like
Okay, and we're
kinda-
saying we think
Yeah.
that he's the next Kevin Durant.
well,
Yeah,
I
but-
mean, 4 years into Kevin Durant's career, he was an MVP. Like he was in the MVP conversations. So I
yeah,
mean,
you kind of have to pump the brakes there,
But he
No, but
we're
he's
talking
still
about
the
play
next
style.
Kevin Durant.
Anyways, Arnav, continue with your list, please.
Number 6, Chris Middleton. I don't like him personally, and I know that's gonna tick off Andrew, but
There's nothing wrong with Chris Middleton.
he's still a good player. Yeah,
Got so mad at
Yeah,
Mike
you got so mad
Quaison making that video about him.
Jason Tatum is my number 5 spot. The biggest part of the Celtics right now. The only reason, no, not the only reason they're in the playoff race, but a big reason why they're in the they could get a championship. I don't think they're gonna get a championship this year, but they could. They're in the conversation. Jimmy Butler, my number 4 spot. Really good work ethic, and he took a really bad Miami team to the number 3 seed.
I mean, I think in the East, without Jimmy Butler, they still could make it. But anyways,
Yeah, I agree. They're actually.
I don't think not to the 4 seed, not to the 4 seed.
Not to the 4 seed. Obviously, Butler helps.
Like
but
7 seed.
7 or 6
without Butler.
is within the realm of possibility, even without Butler. Has he even played a lot this year? He's played a fair bit, but I don't think he's played every game.
But the leadership,
He is a very good leader.
he was a perfect fit for the Miami team.
Yeah, for
I
a
agree
young
with that.
team.
Steve.
My number 3 spot, same thing with Ben, is Kawhi Leonard. I don't know. He needs to do something in the playoffs to keep him. Actually, no, he's still there, but people are having their doubts, and he needs to shut them up.
Like after last year, everybody was saying, "Oh, he's the best player in the league," but
And then this season,
nobody said
people
that
are
since
saying,
he's been on the Clippers.
yeah.
I
Yeah,
think he should have stayed. Not just
Yeah,
because I'm a Toronto fan, but I think it would have been better for his career to stay in Toronto.
Definitely a better decision.
It would be better for his legacy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He could have
Well,
gotten
and his
3
career,
more
I think
championships.
if he was in Toronto, I think they'd be a finals lock and possibly maybe even a championship lock if he was still in Toronto this season.
Oh, yes.
I'll get to my Kawhi take, and I'll talk a little bit about what he did in Toronto in a minute. But Arnav, finish your list.
My number 2 spot, we got Kevin Durant. He's the next Brandon Ingram.
That's what I was gonna say.
That is the funniest thing you've said on the podcast, I think, ever. That was just great.
I was actually gonna say that.
That was really great.
Okay, but no. Kevin Durant, definitely best. He's definitely in the conversation for the best scorer of all time.
I think he's the best scorer of all time.
And then,
We know that from
number
you,
1.
Andrew.
35 years old of age. Took his team to the first and the West.
Hold on, are you sure it's not 36 now? Sure it's not 72?
He's doing his epic intro. What are you doing, Andrew? Let him finish.
Averaging 25 and 10. In the MVP race.
It's
Alex Caruso. LeBron James. It pretty much speaks for itself. It's LeBron James. He's the best small forward.
Arguably the greatest player of all time. The greatest.
Exactly.
The greatest.
And you say it for your list.
Okay. Now let's move on to the next 45 to 3 hours. 45 minutes to 3 hours of
Andrew talking about his small forward list. Here we go.
Okay, I'm sorry that I'm thorough.
All right, let's hear it.
Okay, so first we have to go through my honorable mentions, and I only have 2 because we've already been through, OG, Kelly Oubre, all pretty solid players. They're just fairly young and they're unproven, so there's really not much to say there. But at my number 10 spot, oh wait, hold on. Oh right, no, I have to mention my two important ones. So my biggest honorable mentions are DeMar DeRozan and TJ Warren. I didn't put DeMar DeRozan on this list because I think my opinion on him has changed a lot. I used to think he was a really good player because, first of all, I was ignorant. I just thought, oh, he plays for Toronto, so he's flawless. I also didn't know a lot when he played on Toronto, or as much as I do now. But He's a really good isolation scorer in the mid-range, and he's a really athletic slasher. But really, other than that, he doesn't bring anything that just excites me more than anyone else, right? Like, he's not a good three-point shooter. He's not a particularly good playmaker. I mean, he's decent, but that's really about it. He's not even the best player on the Spurs through the bubble right now. So that's why I have him as an honorable mention. He's also, did I mention that he's a poor defender? Because he's a poor defender. So I don't think he's better than anyone else on my list. And then my other honorable mention is TJ Warren, who I think he's played really well in the bubble. And I was really close, and I had him on my list, but I forgot about Kevin Cupcake Durant, so snake strikes again, I guess. He's been really great in this bubble, and I think as a for his career, TJ Warren's very underrated. Like Arnav, you didn't even know he was a 20-point per game scorer, but he is a legit 20-game guy. He was basically Indiana's Bojan Bogdanovic or Jordan Clarkson this year, just for the Pacers rather than the Jazz, right? He's instant offense. He's a really other than his offense, he really doesn't bring anything else. He's a really good scorer, but that's about it. He's a good three-point shooter now. He's better than he was, but I'd like to see him get to 5-6 attempts a game, not 4. His efficiency is really good though. But obviously in the bubble, he's played amazing. He's taken a ton more threes. He's been really aggressive. He's just been really amazing in the bubble, just scoring the basketball. And I think at a certain point, when you're that good at getting buckets, then that out-trumps the fact that you're really not impactful in other ways. But I just want to see more of this. And I also think that people need to pump the brakes. Keep in mind, it's been 4 or 5 games. If this was a 12 to 20 game stretch, then yeah, I'm convinced.
Yeah, Jason Tatum.
But I don't think I've seen enough of him. Anyway, but moving on to my number 10, I have Tobias Harris. So I think Tobias is a really good. He's a fairly good isolation scorer, a capable 3-point shooter. He's got a good pull-up mid-range game. I would actually say that the Sixers are leaning really heavily on him. I don't think he's a number 1 or even number 2 option on a championship team. And I think when the Sixers are he shouldn't be. He's kind of being forced into a role that he can't fulfill. He's not good enough to be the Sixers' best player right now. So that's why I have him at number 10. He's a very good, talented player, but I just don't think he's a number 1 or 2 option. He is, to me, a borderline all-star, though. I think he can be an all-star, but I think he has to be in the right role. So at number 9, I have Gordon Hayward, and I kind of flip-flopped between these two. I just think that Gordon Hayward is a better, pure 3-point shooter, and he's just got a better overall game, and he also has a role that's more fitting to a player of his caliber. I think Tobias Harris would actually fit greatly on a team like the Celtics, a team that, has established players where he doesn't have to carry a lot of the load. I think that would benefit him.
I agree with that.
Which is why I think he was pretty good on the Clippers. He was good on the Magic. He's been good for a while. He didn't have to carry everything. He was either on bad teams that had low expectations, or he was on teams that had enough, right? But anyway, back to Gordon Hayward. He's just a really good pure scorer. Obviously, the injury set him back about 2 years. I think he's going to get close to that 20-point per game player again. I think he's going to be really important. He's like the Celtics X factor to me. So that's Gordon Hayward. So at number 8, I have Bojan Bogdanovic. And to me, it comes down to he is more – when the Celtics and the Sixers are fully healthy, they are more important. They don't need Gordon Hayward or Tobias Harris respectively, like the Jazz need Bojan Bogdanovic. Right now, the Jazz are fully healthy outside of Bogdanovic and Juwan Morgan. But Bogdanovich was basically like, that's 20 points a game that they have to fill now. He's a really good three-point shooter. He's a really clutch player. He's a very sound, fundamental scorer, great shooter. He's really important to that team. And I think it comes down to he is more important to the Jazz than Gordon Hayward is to the Celtics and Tobias is to the Sixers. At my number 7, speaking of important to the respective teams, it's Brandon Ingram, who to me is the best player on the Pelicans. A lot of people might argue Zion, but that's like arguing for Rookie of the Year. I disagree. Brandon Ingram is a really good scorer. He's improved his three-point shot a lot. He's become fairly efficient. He's a great three-level scorer. I think people need to pump the brakes on the Kevin Durant comparison. I don't like Kevin Durant is a 4-time scoring champion. Okay, I think if Brandon Ingram can win one scoring title, that would be enough. He is a really good second option, but I think he could be an okay first option for this team. Just overall, he's a great talent. He can score from all levels. He's a good playmaker. He's a good rebounder. I mean, there really isn't much to say with Brandon Ingram. He's just a great overall scorer. He's a bucket getter. He's a solid leader. I just want to see more of what he's already done.
Sorry, was that your 6th or 7th?
That was my 7th. So at 6, I have Chris Middleton. I actually think that Chris Middleton is properly rated because like articles like Bleacher Report will have you believe that he's a top 3 small forward and he's better than Kawhi and KD, which is not true. He's a really talented scorer. He's a very quiet player. He's a great shooter. He's a great mid-range. He's got a good mid-range game. He's got good touch around the rim. He just goes about his 22 points a game very quietly. Like, I don't like he's way overshadowed by Giannis. Like, people like to think that this Bucks team, because they don't have another top 10 player, arguably they don't. I don't think.
They don't have another all-star caliber player.
Chris Middleton is an all-star.
Chris Middleton is not an all-star, bro. He's not an all-star.
He averaged 22 points a game. That is
and
good.
So did Bogey.
Beal averaged 30 and didn't make it.
Exactly.
Yeah, Beal was on a bad team. Beal was on a bad team.
Okay. So if you average 22 on a bad team, that means if you average 33 on a good team, you don't make it.
And
well, get rid of fan voting. Get rid of fan voting.
So, and Middleton is
keep
on
going,
the team
keep
with
going.
the MVP.
Yeah, but
and defensive player.
So you think that Giannis just does everything and no one else?
I'm not gonna lie, 22 points is easy when everybody's focused on the best player in the world. One of the best players in the world.
That's not true because if it were
easy, he's getting doubled in the paint. It's open threes.
Okay, but if it were so
drive and kick, bro,
then why doesn't Dante DiVincenzo average 19 points a game? He gets lots.
Because he doesn't get those minutes. Like
okay, he gets.
And Giannis is looking for Chris Middleton, and Chris Middleton's a better player than Dante
Middleton earned that. He is a better player. He earned it. Okay.
He didn't earn the All-Star vote.
He earned.
If the Bucks weren't the best team in the NBA, he wouldn't have made it. I'm sorry, but that's true.
Other than the season he was injured, he has averaged 18 points and now 21 points for 4 straight years. That is a really good player.
But
I don't see how
that.
Why doesn't
TJ
Warren make it every year?
It's just
because
the drive and
TJ Warren isn't on a very good team, and TJ Warren has only eclipsed.
I know, but your team shouldn't determine if you're a good player or an all-star caliber player.
He is the reason.
But it does.
He is part of the reason they are so good, right? Like, he mattered.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
he mattered.
But they would still be a top 3 team in the East.
Did Klay Thompson matter to the 73-9 Warriors? Yeah. Was he better than Giannis? Hell, or was he better than Steph Curry? Hell flippin' no. But he mattered.
But was he an all-star caliber player? Yes.
Chris Middleton's an all-star caliber player.
Okay, whatever you said.
Definitely an all-star caliber player. He is one of the best shooters in the NBA. Like, it's not easy to get 21 points a game because then everyone would do it. Alex Caruso would be a 50-point-per-game guy because he's already amazing.
No, he had that many minutes. Okay, what I'm saying is that it's not that impressive for a good. He's above average NBA player, but above average doesn't get you into the All-Star game. With the most focused guy on the court, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Everybody's trying to focus on stopping him. That Chris Middleton is there. And by him just being there, he can get past with 22 points a game.
That's exactly how me and Ben played. Like, I would just drive in, and then the
Ben,
defense would
that is a
come
terrible
and
comparison, Arnav. You're a 5'11".
That was a bad comparison.
No,
You're a
because I
5'11"
just drive
ninth
in.
grader.
I
Chris
drive
Middleton
in,
is
and then
a
they
grown
squeeze.
as all hell man.
No,
Okay,
no. Listen,
you are
listen.
not
I
Giannis.
drive in. I
You
drive
are
in.
not
They
Giannis.
squeeze. I kick it out. Ben has an open three every time. That's exactly how it works.
All right, Andrew,
Okay,
let's get back to your
I
list,
completely
please.
disagree with what you guys say about Chris Middleton. He's a really underrated player. He's okay, fine. He's not
No,
as
he's
exciting as
overrated. He's
Brandon Ingram.
overrated.
He
He's
is not as
overrated.
exciting as Brandon Ingram. He's not as young. He's not as interesting. Okay, you don't know a lot about Chris Middleton. Okay, but he
Just
is.
get back to your
Chris
list,
Middleton's
please.
Best
bad.
believe it. He's a good player.
He's
So
a
at
good
number
player, but
five-
he's not as.
At number
he's not,
5. Hi. At number 5, I'm probably going to edit a lot of this out.
Please don't.
At number 5, I have Jason Tatum. Okay, he had 1 month, I think it was February, where he averaged 30 points a game, which is just a testament to how pure of a scorer he is. He's a great isolation player. In the one-on-one, he has the ability to hesitate, get to the rim, get his defender off their feet. He's a really smart player. He's a really athletic player. He's a really good defender, actually. I think he's underrated in that aspect. He's a good playmaker. He's a good rebounder. He's just
okay, we get it. We get it.
Player.
You're in love with Jason Tatum. Now let's go to Butler.
What? I'm just saying everything you guys didn't say. You were like, yeah, Jason.
We said the same
You
thing.
were like, yeah, Jason Tatum's good. That's about it. He's really important to the Celtics team being the number 1 option, though. He's their go-to guy in the clutch.
We said that.
So anyway, at number 4, I have Jimmy Butler, who I think it's actually a lot closer between him and Tatum than some people might think. I think what it comes down to is Jimmy Butler's a much better leader as it is right now. Butler's a better one-on-one defender, and Butler has proven more
experience
already. We've had one really good season of Jason Tatum. That's it. We've had lots. Butler has shown us lots more. The Heat have surprised us a lot this year. His ability to. He's just a really scrappy. He's just a really scrappy player. He's a great hustler. He's got good defensive instincts. He's got good size and length and athleticism.
He makes a lot out of nothing.
Yeah, exactly. He's able to create a lot of plays. He's a good enough. He's a good mid-range shooter. He's not a 3-point shooter, really, at all. My God. Okay, so I just looked up his averages for reference, and he is shooting an abysmal 24% from 3, which is a little surprising. I did not know he was that poor of a 3-point shooter. Did not know he was that weak, and that was such a weak part of his game. But nonetheless, he's still really solid. He's kind of like what DeMar DeRozan is, but he's a really good defender on top of that, and he's a little less athletic. Which makes for a really good player, especially when the team he's on is winning a lot of games. But anyway, moving on from him. At number 3, I have Kevin Durant. Really, it was between him and Kawhi for the spot, obviously. And what it came down to was, yes, I have Kevin Durant ranked over Kawhi. Historically, I think Kevin Durant is the greatest scorer of all time. I think he's the most pure scorer of all time.
You said that like 7 times. Okay, I'm sorry, but keep going.
He's obviously an amazing 3-level scorer. He's nearly impossible to guard in the isolation with his ability to just they actually created the rip through move so that he couldn't be drawing all the fouls he used to on his rip throughs. But nonetheless, he's still become an amazing scorer with his ability to pull up from basically anywhere and knock it down with a hand in his face. He's great when facing double teams. He's really, really, really good scorer. And what it came down to between him and Kawhi was, I think first of all, Kevin Durant, I think he will be affected a little bit by this injury. I don't think it'll hinder his mid-range to outside game, but I don't think he's going to be as aggressive as a slasher. He's not going to get to the rim as much, or he's not going to get to the free throw line as much either. But he's still Kevin Durant. He's going to get his 25 points a game. And I also think that Kawhi's team is just going to be better than the Nets. I think the Clippers will be better than the Nets next year, and they'll find more success under Kawhi and PG than the Nets will with Kyrie and KD. There's actually a good chance that I don't get that twisted. I think Kyrie is definitely better than Paul George, and I think KD is better all time than Kawhi. But I just don't know if Kyrie can lead a team.
He's not leading the team. He's the second option.
Okay, but there might be a power.
Really good at second option.
We have.
That's the
there
reason
is
why
yet
you
to be
LeBron
seen
won.
whether there's a power struggle or not there between him and Kevin. But anyway, we're going to get away from that. That's stuff for next season. At number 2, I have Kawhi because he's one of the greatest defenders of all time. He's a great playmaker, great isolation scorer, great clutch player. You saw what he did in Toronto. I think what happened in Toronto was kind of weird because I like to say that he won a championship by accident because Kawhi Leonard is so talented. He never asked to come to Toronto, right? He never wanted to come here. That's why he stayed for 1 year, went about his business, and just won it. I think he won a championship, one, because he was put on a really good team. He had a really good coach, and he's a really good player, right? He didn't win it because he wanted to. Well, obviously he wanted to win a championship. He tried. But, I don't think his intention was never to stay here regardless of that. I think a championship, made it a little tougher.
Made it a little harder, yeah.
But I think he always knew that his heart was going to be in LA because that's where he grew up. And I think that's a fair thing. Do I think he would benefit more from staying here? I think so. I think he would because our team is basically last year's team, but a little better minus our core outside of Kawhi. Our supporting cast is now good enough to be a contender or a dark horse contender, even without Kawhi. So if you put Kawhi on this team, would there be a little bit of a power struggle between maybe him and Pascal? And now that they're all these new guys, and our team is a lot better without him. Like how the Celtics, when Kyrie was gone, they were better without him, right? And then there was a power struggle when Kyrie came back, right?
Okay, let's move on to LeBron.
I think Kawhi is one of the greatest players of all time, arguably the greatest one-on-one defender of all time, just an amazing player overall. But at number 1, I have my favorite player of all time, LeBron James.
Wait, why did Arnav say LeBron? It could be somebody else.
Yeah, it could be.
Sorry, my bad.
You don't know that Taco Fall isn't a starting small forward on the Boston Celtics. You don't know that. Okay, maybe Jaylen Brown.
Anyways.
Maybe Jaylen Brown is just disguised as it's just Taco Fall, but disguised.
Okay, keep going, Ange.
I don't know. Well, anyway, obviously my number 1 is LeBron because he's one of the greatest players of all time. He's one of the best playmakers ever. He's amazing in the playoffs, and I factor that in because I'm so confident that he's going to be good in the playoffs this year, which is why I picked the Lakers to win the championship.
Okay.
He's just an amazing overall player, amazing playmaker, great scorer. He's fallen off since he's gone to LA, but I think his age has caught up to him a little. I think the injury last year really slowed him down, and I think his body has gone through a lot. And so because of that, he's not what he once was, but he's still super dominant. He's still LeBron James. He's an amazing player. And there's really not much I can say about him that hasn't already been said. People have sung the praises of LeBron for years. But anyway, that's my list.
All right. So that was our
Before we
top
end-
10 small players.
Before we end, Let's just give a round of applause for Andrew, who only talked for 20 minutes and 14 seconds, because that's just impressive.
That's it? Okay, well, you showed me that. You keep showing me the timer, right? And I was like, oh, shoot, 5 minutes in, and I'm still on Gordon Hayward.
Just honorable mentions.
Okay. Also,
I'm thorough.
No, it was good. It was good.
Before we end it, I want to also talk about two things that happened. First, outside of the NBA, did you guys hear the professor tore his Achilles and might not be able to play basketball again?
I did not hear that.
Okay, so
Crazy.
actually, I was on the Click Productions Discord, shout out Click, and basically someone suggested this video for what if, I think it was what if the professor was drafted into the NBA. The professor NBA career sim, but he has Achilles back. I didn't know that the professor had tore his Achilles because that doesn't matter to me. I assumed that he had tore his Achilles way early in his career when I read that. But that's interesting. He's kind of cool. His handles are pretty okay, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know if it's gonna really change it.
He's no Alex Caruso, but he's kind of cool. He's no.
And
dude.
then are we gonna mention about the beef going on with Dame and Pat Beverly and Paul George?
I find it really funny. I find it really funny because I don't think they're going to beef on the court. Paul George, I don't think him and Paul PG will beef on the court.
Pat Beverly.
There's a good chance they play with each other. They play on the same team on the Olympics, so I think that'll smooth over. But you know, Pat Bev, he's a junkyard dog.
Talks.
He is so hilariously scrappy.
He's literally, he's like the Walmart, like, I don't even
He is
know.
Walmart Gary Payton.
Honestly.
Yeah, like Gary Payton Jr. isn't even Walmart Gary Payton. But man, Pat Bev really is. He's a really feisty player. So
He's got the biggest mouth in the NBA.
It's kind of like his beef with KD. I think it'll eventually blow over, and it'll just be the way it is.
He has beef with everybody in the NBA, I swear.
Yeah, but I think he likes
LeBron too.
He tries really hard to beef. Like he wants it so bad.
He just gets under everybody's skin.
He wants to prove that he's scrappy, but he doesn't have to prove that. We get it. Like we get it, Pat. Pat, if you're watching this, we get it. We understand.
Yeah, so that's basically our podcast for today.
Okay, guys, thanks for watching Three in the Key. That's going to wrap up the episode. We'll probably come out with another episode pretty soon on Wednesday, I think, or maybe Thursday.
No, we're not going to have an episode come out on Thursday. That's not in the schedule. We might have something come out on Wednesday, but it's
I think we will have something come out on Wednesday.
What will we have come out on Wednesday? We haven't. It's unlikely
we'll talk about it after, but we will have something coming out on Wednesday. Anyways, okay. Arnav, wrap it up.
And we'll have a video on Wednesday.
Thanks, guys. If you
unprepared.
We do not.
If you liked.
We're having an argument right now about what we're going to have on Wednesday.
I'm trying to wrap it up.
Arnav, just end it.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening in to the Three in the Key podcast. See you guys next time. Goodbye.
Bye.